those many different theories are somehow based on some of these, thank you, some of these classic management theories, right? So started from classic theories, but it is advanced to behavioral quantitative systems, contingents, and now we are at the time of learning organization theories. So theory progressed in that from top here to the bottom. So we can say that theories are not really distinguishable each other and not really unique each other. It is kind of all linked. So because of limitation of some theories here, a new theory developed, and also the new theory have some problem limitation, then another theory actually coming. So that's how the theories actually progressed. And also make sure that all the time, like 60s, 70s, up to this time, this era, the question, the problem of all global firms, small or large, medium, what size they are, does have a unique problem for each decade. Like companies in 60s, for instance, does have a typical problem at the time, but in 70s, companies also have a unique problems, and companies in 90s and even 20s. So each decade, companies, of course, their objectives are still same, but their, say, current issues or problems are keep changing. So that means as theory keep progressing here and develop here, their solution to develop the better, good performing organizations are quite different. Even though, right, they are designed from their previous theories limitation. So just make sure, I mean, a lot of questions, especially in exam, coming from asking lots of questions about like this one, like what are the fundamental ideas, what are the key ideas of each theories, for instance, and what are the limitations of particular theories, and so on. So that's kind of asking you the key point, strength, limits of each individual theories are quite good question to ask in the exam. So do not skip or ignore any that kind of a point. So last session we talked about classic viewpoint, which was developed at the beginning of 20th century, right? So basically the classic theory tried to say that company can perform better by designing, say, best manual, for instance, to simply say. So by designing best manual, by identifying or defining the best skills and capability, and employees would be able to understand how much they can produce, say, per unit hours or per days or per years. So based on that kind of ideal amount of work during specific time period, the worker is able to know whether they are doing better or doing worse or just doing the average, right? So classic point is simply say that all companies should prepare kind of manuals that can be trained, delivered, taught to employees. So by mastering that manuals, each individual, say, employees, workers are able to work better. So if companies are doing that one good, then the company can simply, good company, profitable companies. Like Chrysler, GM, for instance, exactly follow the advice of the classic theories, arguments, suggestions. So as we discussed, like because of the power of this scientific management, the price of car in the beginning of 1910 used to be like over 900, was dropped down to say 120s. per car. So mass production realized, which means that worth of your individual employees, nation, companies expanded, grow, so everybody happy. But the problem of that classic theories is actually like simply the company, because of this one, treating all employees like machine. So once you go to the company, your job is just take your position and just keep working 24 hours or your working hours. Keep just working and working and find how much you can actually produce. So that's your job, and that's the job of the firms to you. So your job is just working and working. So that's actually the problem of the advice of classic theories. So that's why, like in 1930s, like USA or UK suffer huge, like labor strikes, dispute. Right? They just strike a lot. We just cannot be working like this. We are not machine. We are human. We want to be treated like in very human way. We are not machine. So companies, people start to find the limit of classic theories. It worked at the beginning of 19th century, but start to have some problems. So that's why new theory actually developed, what I call behavioral theories. So just simply treating, say, bless you, treating people nice, human way, caring more, giving more power employees, allow more employment empowerment. So employee empowerment simply say that individual workers are allowed to have more their own decision making and their own self-management rather than just work like machine following the guideline or order or monitor from the top. So that's the idea of behavioral theories. If you treat employees are not simply working there in the company for money. Of course, money is important, but on the other hand, they wish to be like treated like equally a human way, and welfare is on the other hand also very important. So company should care about that one. Then the company will grow more. So that's the argument of behavioral theories, which were developed from 30s to 50s, right before or right after the World War II. So yeah, this one also influenced to the lots of companies' performance. Actually, because of this theory, employees, workers benefited a lot, right? What kind of benefit actually now we have? What's happening in Hyundai Motor this day? If you see the newspaper, you're right. Some kind of a disagreement with the management and labor about, say, compensation and payment system. Just please look at what's happening in Hyundai Motor. My point here is that if workers don't like ideas about management, what management does, what company trying to do, then the workers, employees have the right to strike. That's legally possible, right? How is it possible? If you don't like the idea, you can just stop working, right? Every workers this day, employees has 3 rights. What is it? We just talked about this one in our previous management and business and society. What? Right to life? Yeah. I mean, every employees in the democratic world, society has the 3 rights. So probably if you are hired, certainly once you sign the contract, you also may uh, given with some this kind of a contract. So which describing that you have the right to say, right to organize with other employees. So organizing with other employees is a basic right of the employees. 단결권, what they call it in Korean. And also another right of labor force employees are you have the right to bargain collectively. Individually of you have very weak right against the power of management and company. However, employee as all together would be a huge power. So workers, individual of you have a right to bargain, say, collectively or together with the management if you guys disagree with the management of the firms. 단체 교섭권 in Koreans, right? So another right is that if you simply cannot reach an agreement with your, say, management company, you can just strike, just stop working until you and management reach some agreement each other, compromising each other, right? So you have a right to strike. So like you have to act together if that's what you want. So that is actually 3 rights of all companies employees are having in Korea, and in all other developed countries as well. So how that rights are possibly endowed with the employees these days? Because of this one, behavioral theories. Because of the behavioral theories, democracy actually come to the work field. Voting power of employees actually possible realistically by these theorists and activists from this group of thought. So actually it changed a lot to the working environment, right? So actually impact a lot. And we talked about Mayo. The textbook describe, also the article that I gave you describe lots of scholars and ideas. So you should not skip any of their main point. So this theory stress like you, as I say, top managers, top management, what kind of attitude you should have toward your employees. That affect your company's performance. So kind of leadership issues are to raised from this behavior perspective. Before then, I think the no such concept like leadership or managers' attitude toward their workers, employees were not totally discussed. Right? So because of this one, we start to open up new ideas about the leadership, how you as a manager, say, manage your people a human way. Right? However, this theory, although it successfully bring the democracy down to the workplace, however, the problem of this one is that, again, as I told you, like treating people equally, loving way may give your company a success. That may be ultimately solution and suggestion of this theory. But as I tell you, like it's too much romantic, say, suggestions, right? As I told you, like if that's possible, then all priest, monk, father should be the CEO because they are love-giving persons, right? So so that's actually not realistic under certain circumstances, especially when the markets are very competitive and in kind of the market in a dramatic change. So that's why new theories start to raise what you call a quantitative theory. This one mostly developed right after the World War II, right? So right after the World War II, company, especially global firms at the time, start to have a new problems. What problems they have right after World War II? Just imagine what happened after the Korean War. What? Lots of people. That's quite opposite, right? A lot of people just die, right, in the battlefield. So right after war, huge demand of product service, but actually no one can sufficiently provide that one, right? Everything just destroyed, right? Lack of people. So that's the problem. So demand out there, but firms cannot supply that sufficiently. Everything destroyed, bombed. So how then the company can solve that problem? So another situation actually company start to confront. So this is actually the solution for that one. Actually, for that problem, the company couldn't really find any answer, but they got some lesson from the World War II. It's kind of a military tactics. Just imagine like about 500 years ago, Japan attacked Korea, right? So our Lee General Lee defend Japanese ship, like more than 300 Japanese battleships, defending those ships by how many ships? If you have taken the history class. What? 30,000? I mean, have you seen the movie Myeonglang, right? So how many ships defend Japanese more than 300 battleships, right? 12, right? Not 12? Right. So 12, right? So like 12 Korean battleship defend Japanese more than 300 battleships and basically totally destroy them, right? So what was the strategy of General Lee? So that kind of idea is actually what quantitative management tried to tell companies. Just like if you say, just when say World War II, for instance, like more than 100, 900 of German bomb airplane drop bomb in the city of London day and night, more than 10 days. And at the time, what UK did have was very few small, say, fighting airplane, very small one, not really bomber. But actually, UK successfully defend Germany. So quite a same story of how General Lee defend Japanese attack, right? By using small amount of your resource, you can still realize your, say, goal. You made a brilliant achievement. So that's basically ideas of quantitative management theory here. So the point here is that companies have only limited resource, but there might be a lot of things to do out there, but you just cannot satisfy all of their demand. So in that situation, you should think about how to use your limited resource at optimum level, right? How do you utilize your limited resource wisely and efficiently, right? You only have a very limited defending ship, so you just cannot abuse them to defend the enemy, right? So just like, for instance, you are running, say, logistic companies. You need to, which should deliver product to, say, 55 different states in the USA. So your job is delivering packages to USA. Then how many trucks you should have? very kind of a similar questions, right? Just like how many ships you need to defend 100,000 attacking battleships. What is the minimum but most powerful, effective resource that you need to do something? So that is basically this one. So in the logistic company's case, since you are a delivery company, logistic companies deliver to say 55 states in USA, that doesn't mean that you need to hire say 1,000 trucks. So you don't have that much money. So what is the minimum number of say trucks? How to operate that minimum numbers of trucks, but still you are successfully delivering the packages to 55 different states in the USA. So that is kind of a question still a lot of companies have, and quantitative theory, management theory actually try to give some ideas on that one. So simply, if I simply say quantitative management try to teach you like you have to make right decision. So the point of the quantitative theory is the success factor of a firm to build a better company depends on your right decision for resource allocation. Right? As I mentioned earlier, you just cannot hire 1,000 trucks, right? How can you make the right decision? So here, right decision means rational decisions. Right? If you say TV set makers, for instance, your job is you should produce the right exact amount of TV. Right? You should not over produce, or you should not underproduce. You should exactly the right amount of TVs, so at the end of your sales, your inventory should remain empty. Right? If you like leftover of many TVs in your inventory after season's over without selling some of the TV, that is your loss. Right? You know what I'm saying, right? And so you just should produce the right exact amount of product. How can you do that? For doing that, you have to estimate the right amount of, say, demand that you are sufficiently satisfied, and you have to calculate how many, say, material resource that you need, and you have to make without any redundancy, wasting your resource, and so on. So again, the quantitative management, briefly simply say, by using statistics, lots of simulations, computer-based, a lot of case-based exercise about what happened in this case or what happened in that case. So try to understand what's really you can do there in the market. So you just exactly prepare what you do for that market, right? Like when General Lee defend more than 300 Japanese ships, he had a very exact plan, right? The General Lee just wait until the best time for him to defend coming, and then he deploy his strategy accordingly. So quantitative management is all about best decision making. So as we said, and the second half, remaining three is what I call a contemporary theories. So the first three here, what I call a classic the historic theories, mostly try to look at, told you like the questions are the same, right? How to build more profitable firms. However, for the first three, what I call historic one, only look at your firms. That's the difference. While the last three, it is much more multi dimensionals. The last three, unlike the first three, it emphasized that in order for you to build better firms, you should not look at your firms, but also you have to look at your firm's relationship with other involvement, other firms, other companies, and so on. So that's why we said this one is more like inward looking. You just look at yourself, your firms, to build a better firm, but this is more like outward looking perspective. You have to look at yourself, but also look at environment, how your firm's environment are interacting each other. So that's how we can divide classic one, the historic one, and contemporary one. Like system theory in that sense actually changed dynamics of management study quite a lot. So before we talk about system theory, simply say system theory means that just look at the firms as kind of a system, right? System means kind of a relationship between inside and outside, and how that relationship flow each other. If you look at something in that way, that is what we call like a systematic, say, a viewpoint. So system viewpoint is that before you actually asking or find the answer of your question of better company, just look at how your firms are actually operating. Just like look at us here. We are individual humans here, however, we are act like system, right? There are input here. We have to have some food, energy, take something as an input, and that input converted it as an output. So we act something, we produce something. For input to output, there should be some kind of a transformation process here. Your organ, your, say, brain, your heart, liver, all of the organ in your body should work, say, properly, right? So that's how you have to look at yourself. Not only you look only your heart, brain, your ideas, you have to look at the nature of all of yourself. So that's kind of what you call a systematic viewpoint. Look at what's input of yourself, look at what kind of output yourself, and how input, output are transformed. So if you are able to draw a map of, say, your firm as a system interacting inside, outside the organization, then you can say that you are now able to see yourself as an open system. You should not see yourself, your firm, as a closed system. If you consider your firm as a closed system, just your firm only exists. Only you think about your firm as a factor to build a better firm. That's a kind of a closed systems way of thinking, which may not give you a very partial answer to your question. So you should be very open system to view your firms, to answer your questions. So simply say, system theory try to say that in order to build a better firms, you have to look at your firm's organ. We have our own organ here, like brain, stomach, right? So liver, and lots of organs we have, right? So in that sense, what are the organs of a firm? If you say, like functional department, like marketing department, manufacturing department, R&D department. So each department, functional department, is like organ, right? They individually operating, individually as well as interacting each other with other departments for the benefit of the whole organization. So the point of system theory is that you have to look at how, simply say, each organ of a firm, each function of a firm perform correctly each other, right? How, simply say, marketing departments are working well itself, as well as working with other, say, departments, the manufacturing department, and so on. So for the first time in the history of management theory, the system theory start to thinking about like how managers are able to coordinate well for their company's functions. Quite important point if you really run the companies. So how can you really coordinate lots of function well, right? You just exercise a lot, right? Every day, eat properly every day, which may be helping your organs, right? But if you smoke like 3 packs of cigarette, it may be destroying your lung, right? So it is not really well coordinating your organs. You have to balancing the function of each organs, and you have to look at how each organs are connected well, working well each other, and understand how each functions are interrelated. So try to look at from the bigger pictures for your firm to be a better one. So coordination, orchestrating all of the firms, that's the job of the managers, which are strongly emphasized in system theories. In that sense, also coordination does include coordinating your internal function as well as your some of the outside, say, entity, like universe. Because of that contingency, the system theory, another theory developed, what I call a contingency theory. The Harvard University actually developed the ideas. The contingency theory is actually quite simple, right? There is no right best answer that can be used, applied to all firms. So that's basically the point. Before, lots of theories trying to find this is like best way, like Bible-like way. So our firm should follow this or that principle. So that's pretty much what management theories try to define. But contingency theory, on the other hand, say that best solution. There is no such thing like best solution for all firms. Your best solution may not be the best solution to other firms, and other firms' best solution may not be your best solution. So, what is contingency? What's the meaning of contingency? What? Yeah, not exactly.
Considering all possibilities.
Yeah, that's from your computer?
No, that's computer.
Okay. So yeah, contingency means all possibility, probably, or kind of a situation. There's no one situation that company may have. So the company has a lot of situations. So rather than finding like Bible-like rules, you have to find your best way. So what's your firm's situation? What's your firm's current situation, current contingency? Understanding that one is first step to find the best solution to your firm, right? So when you say contingency, let's say that your firms are having any kinds of problem. Like mostly the typical problem would be like your sales dropped, you are losing your market share, you are getting behind your competitors. So then maybe very typical problems. So in order to find a solution, so what kind of contingency you start to look at? So that's basically the point. What situation, what condition you have to look at first, rather than just jump into the answer right away. Just imagine, right? What your firms are now in trouble, so you have to visualize like how my firms are, what kind of situation your firms are under. Right? You can visualize, right? So when you say your firms are in trouble, in what? So you have to see like how your competitors are now doing, right? And also how global market is now moving, how global economy is doing, what kind of new technology is coming. So you may consider lots of factors that may hitting your brain just right away. So there are some important key factors hitting your idea first. Probably then maybe the key contingency. So that key contingency may not be the same. Some firms probably may thinking about global, say, economy first for your company's problem. But global economy may not be really the matter to you. For if you are, say, doing, say, casino business, for instance, right? In whether globally booming or recession, just receiving gambler. So contingency widely varied. So the point is, what kind of situation you have to consider the most. So question starts from there to find the kind of a solution to your problems, companies. So as a rule of thumb, mentioned like your firm's specific condition, my firm's specific conditions are all different. But if we see some common factors, certainly like company size may be a contingency. Like if you are a big firm, or if you are a small firm or mid-sized firm, your way of, say, reacting or forming strategy may not be the same. So you have to look at, say, simply your size of the firm, for instance. And also you have to think about like what are your firm's like routine, what are the typical practice of your firms. So you have your own habits, right? And likewise, company does have their own habits. So what are that habits widely spreading to all other firms? And also how, say, individuals of your workers are different from your other firms like competitors or some kind of industry leaders, and also the degree of environment uncertainty may be also the kind of contingency you may look at. So the point of the contingency theory is that certainly what kind of situation your firms are now under. If you are correctly understand your specific contingency or situation, then find the answer might be much easier, right? Okay, let's have a break and then we talk about like quality management. This is also quite interesting theory which was developed somewhere in 80s and still powerfully influencing lots of companies these days. So we'll look at what quality management, what the theories try to say to firms. And I think we have finally 3 groups to present. So I think that's, I'm not taking more group presentation for other than those 3. So 3 group will be presenting their project by the end of, say, semester, somewhere in December. So, so please give me the list of your group members to my email. So, and also individual work for you guys. I will give you the individual your working papers topic right after the midterm exam. So, people, students here doing individual work should write essay for with the topic that I give you. And presentation group do not need to write an essay. And also the 80s, on the other hand, also starting quality management to the point now, I think we really see kind of a renaissance of the management studies. So before the quality management theories, actually a lot of theories concern was simply at the end means how can you say like build better company by looking at size of output. Right? So your output, volume of production is quite important as a way to measure your, say, performance. However, by quality management theory starting 80s, mostly by the good practice of many Japanese firms, companies start looking at some other dimensions, what I call equality, right? So, I mean, what happened like Galaxy 7 a few weeks ago? What? Exploded. And what did the company do after that one? Recall. So recall the the new mobile phone, Galaxy XC, Galaxy 7, Note 7. But if you see that how many, say, Galaxy Note 7, the firm, how many problem of the, say, Galaxy Note 7, how many Galaxy Note 7 actually had the problems? They actually produce thousands of mobile phones, but only some of them have some problems. And I saw the newspapers say that, I mean, their official announcement of the firm say that about like statistically, about 23 or 25 out of 100 million Galaxy Notes may have that explosion problem. So that means 23 out of 100 million which may have problems. What is the chance for you to pick up that problem mobile phone? If you count like in percentage, what's the chances of getting that problem mobile phone?
0.000.
So yeah, that's the chance of getting that mobile phone. So which means that if you're getting that wrong mobile phone, the chances of it is extremely low, right? It's just more difficult, like you hit by what? Lightning, or you may get, say, jackpot, or any kind of things, right? So extremely difficult, but still what the company did, recall, right? So even if the chances of getting that problem mobile phone is extremely low. So that's actually part of what quality management theory tries to say. Fundamentally, the quality management theory or the study from this area argue that companies do not allow one mistake out of 1 million. Right. When they say good quality, that means you are only allowed with committing one mistake out of 100 million trier. So Samsung mobile phone case, they made 23 mistakes out of 1 million, right? So that is beyond their tolerance for quality issues. So that's why they recall everything, right? Even though, so how many of you have the Note 7? Oh man, none of you guys. So the point here, if you build a good company, if you wish to do that one, of course you have to care good of the employees, designing, training well your employees. You have to understand, analyze correctly your company's specific situation. But what matters at the end, on top of everything, is your quality, which is quite making sense, right? The level of quality explains everything. That's I think the motto of the quality management theories. So actually the idea of the quality management started from Japan, actually. So you know that Japan destroyed, but they come back, revive somewhere in the 60s. And a lot of, say, scholars investigate why Japan come back. They found that Japanese firm come back because their product qualities are so good, impeccable, always. So investigating how and why these firms from Japan possibly can make that perfect products. So that is actually a question of the point of quality management started, theory started. However, interestingly, the quality management was not really developed by Japan, but it is actually developed by USA scholars, what I call Deming. He taught how to produce a perfect product by applying statistics. And nobody actually listened. Because as I mentioned, all of the firms' concern was output, not really quality, right? But he talked about quality, and only some of the firms in Japan, like Toyota, for instance, listen what he said, like how to improve quality. In doing so, how you can use, say, statistics, for instance. What are the, say, the major, say, business practice to improve your, say, quality of the product? So only the very leading Japanese firms actually listen, adopt Edward Deming's, the statisticians of USA, ideas. So to think about how can you improve your, say, product quality of your firm. You may be thinking about lots of ideas, but what it suggests was, which also totally followed by the Japanese firm, was this one: continuous improvement all the time. Right? So you learn, you just check yourself whether you are improving every day, day by day, all the times, and get. So what do we mean by continuous improvement? Pretty much related to yours, training, of course, educating and learning each other. And employees are alert for their improvement of their work. So output is not really a priority of the firms. Better treatment is not really priority of firms. Continuous improvement are is the priority, strategic priority of the firm. So you put first continuous improvement. Technically, for your job, the improvement in your job, right? And also getting everyone involved. Right? As we said, that the company is like hierarchy, right? So the top designs something, deliver something from top to bottom, and bottom people at the bottom just do as they are told to do. But quality management is not really that way. Everybody involved for particular job exactly the same, right? Nobody really asks, nobody really takes. So everyone all together, regardless of their rank, title, hierarchy, exactly involved, which means that the commitment, responsibilities are pretty much same. Right? Even if you are at the bottom of the hierarchy, your responsibility, your commitments are very strong. And listen customer says. That's the point. So the theory before, nobody really talk about customers, right? Just they talk about their employees, their involvement, their say functions. But finally, this theory emphasizing listen what customers say, what they want, right? So do what customers want. And use accurate standards. So when you say quality means, as I told you, you only accept one mistake out of your 100 million trials, 100 million product, right? So if you say make, say, 1,000 mistakes out of 100 trials, then you have to keep repeating until you reduce from that 1,000 mistakes to 1 mistakes. So that is the standard, right? So for you to do that, that's what we hear by the continuous improvements here. Improve yourself to reduce that standard of quality. So standard of quality means the bottom line of your quality. As I told you, like 1 mistake out of 100 million trial, 1 million trial. So only then you can say that your products are meeting the quality, good quality. That is actually still, just as I mentioned, like what Samsung Electronics did for their Galaxy Note 7, right? They find some mistakes, right? They can just fix it, but they just recall. I mean, people say that this is part of the firm, say, CRM activity, customer relationship management activities, right? To satisfy, not to upset or irritate customers, but from the quality management perspective, 23 mistakes out of 1 million. That's really kind of a problem for the firm's plan, right? So that's why they just start all over again by recalling all the products. And finally, we are doing the theory, time of learning organization. So learning organization is, we can say that the management theory that is working very popular contemporarily at the moment now. So I have sent you the article about the learning organization, its concept, why it is important and why it is very popular among many other companies. Again, the questions are the same. Company wants to build a very good company, successful firms, but how? Learning organizations simply say that, as you hear, in order to build better firms, what company should do is create, as you see here, knowledge. Create knowledge. So the company that can create knowledge here in very creative way, just like Apple, for instance. What Apple actually developed was not really a product itself. It is a kind of a very creative knowledge, right? So a good company should kind of company that create a knowledge that no one can imitate or follow just right away. So the question is how the company can be a creative organization which can create a superior knowledge. So in order to be a very creative organization, what kind of, say, strategy or corporate culture, climate the manager should design? So that is actually the current issue as a way to build a better, more profitable and sustainable firms. So learning organization concept, I'm stressing that this is really the contemporary leading management theory that a lot of companies paying lots of attention. So look at that article and please understand some of the fundamental tenets of the learning organization theory. Okay, let's finish today. And as I mentioned at the beginning, no class next week. And certainly makeup class will be set up somewhere right before the midterm exam.